Hello.
The wonder of modern
Good
technology.
evening. Oh, it's brilliant. First time using it.
Hey.
Well, welcome everybody. We are Equilibrium Collective. Oh, better turn that off. That's it. I'm getting feedback.
That way.
How has your evening been? Well, how's your week been?
My week's been all right. It's been busy, but holidays now.
Easter break. I've not got my daughter for 5 days. Whoop whoop.
Oh,
I shouldn't really say that. I love her really.
I did mine away for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So, good evening, Simon. Good evening, Jess. How are we? Right, so tonight our live is all about the shadow people and the shadow hat man, or known as just the hat man.
Yep.
When it comes to the shadow people, it's basically a lot of questions surrounding it, like what are their intentions, where do they come from, why do they appear, and what or who are the shadow people, basically. And this is what we're going to divulge in about tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I have actually had an experience with the shadow hat man. It was a different experience, a different thing to the shadow people. I've not ever seen shadow people. I've seen dark shapes, but not shadow people. But the shadow hat man I did see when I was younger. I must have been about 7 years old, and as you could probably see from the book behind me, is the basis of the book that I wrote, which is paranormal fiction, but all the paranormal stuff that happens in it, or that's not all of it. 90% of the paranormal stuff that happens in it is stuff that actually happened. So, I have done quite a bit of research onto the whole thing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that's amazing.
What? She needs the paint. Sorry. She got. Oh, what do you want? Children, see, can I go away for 2 weeks? I'll be fine.
Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, because like the Shadow Hat Man is basically what you based your book on, because you have a book out. A lot of people don't know you have a book called The Shadow Man, which is, like you said, loosely based off of your experience from what you experienced when you was 7 years old.
Growing up, yeah. So before I wanted to write anything down, obviously I was going to put it out in the world. I wanted to make sure that what I was talking about, there was some basis in it. And I was really shocked. I didn't realize until I started writing The Shadow Man that there was actually people had experiences all over the world of the same thing. I mean, my whole life growing up, I always called him my top hat and tails man. Because back then when I was a kid, I was very much into the musicals, and I used to watch the Fred Astaires and the thing. And from what I saw, it was a brimmed hat with a tallness and a long coat, and to me it looked like a top hat and tails. And a lot of other people say it looks a lot like a cowboy with a wide brim hat and the old trench coat style. But it is essentially the same shape, and he has been seen by people of all ages, all walks of life, all over the world. And it was a revelation to me when I found this out. And I was shocked that so many people had seen this same exact figure all over the world. And the more I looked into it, the more the experiences are very much the same. If you Google it now, you do get a lot of convoluted articles and stuff. I think something happened a few years ago that brought the whole shadow people, shadow hat man back to the forefront, and a few people wrote similar articles, and everybody's just regurgitating the same information without really looking into it, because the shadow people and the shadow hat man are two very separate things. And they tend to clump them all together, and they're not, because the shadow hat man you see in broad daylight.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with sleep paralysis. He doesn't touch you. He doesn't sit on you. He doesn't come anywhere near you. He just watches, which is creepy enough in itself.
It really is. But yeah, like I said, it came to it was Coast to Coast AM, and
Right.
I believe it was either 2001, 2002, and the lady on it was basically asked at the end of the show to tell us your stories and write in pictures, draw pictures
Yeah,
of this shadow, and it was unremarkable. It was really remarkable because when it all came in, um, it was basically all the same. All the stories were the same, and it's like, how can so many different people have exactly the same experience?
exactly the same experience. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
kind of
it's
understand
fascinating.
it with the shadow people. For the shadow people, it's just this indeterminate person-shaped darkness, and
Yeah,
you know, you can say things about sleep paralysis and all the rest of it. I don't know too much about sleep paralysis, but I do know that, you know, if you're panicky and you see a shadow, you immediately think, you know, a person-shaped shadow, it's gonna scare you.
yeah,
And you can make shadows. I mean, even now at my age in the dark, I can glance over and see something that looks like a shadow. It's just my coat hanging up or something. You know, your brain immediately goes to that. If you're
it
in a bit of
does. It's
a
like
heightened awareness, yeah, you see person, you see people. So I can understand that maybe a lot of the shadow people fear and sightings are possibly sleep paralysis and people just with a heightened sense of awareness, seeing things out the corner of their eyes and that. But the shadow hat man is so very specific in wearing a top hat, you know, a hat the same shape with a wide brim and the coat with the
yeah,
tails. That's not normal. That's not something that everybody's, you know, someone
no,
in you know, Brazil, middle of Brazil, isn't going to automatically see a shadow shape and think, oh, that's a cowboy, or you know,
yeah, no,
it's not a normal shape to see, which
no.
is the thing that's unusual.
I mean, like I say, there's no evidence if it's good or if it's bad, or nobody knows exactly what
No
this entity is. Or, I mean, there's theories that it feeds off your fear. That's what's
negativity.
there to
Yeah,
scare you. It's related to maybe being a demon because they say he has red eyes, and
yeah.
it is
I mean,
crazy because this
really knows.
spans
I mean,
back thousands of
from
years.
my personal experience, I don't remember being scared.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I don't. I remember seeing it. I remember that everything leading up to it. I remember seeing it. It was on the. I was running up and down. So my house was like in a T shape. So you had like the kitchen, the breakfast, the dining room, and the sitting room, and then coming off the middle, there was the hallway down to the door at the end, and you had a downstairs spare room and the toilet off the side, and la la la. But it's in a T shape, and I was running up and down the top of the T. And my mum was sat talking to my aunt on the sofa, and she was just like, "Oh, stop running around!" You know how parents do, like, "Stop it, or enough." And
yes,
I screeched to a halt at the top of the hallway, and I look down and I see this my shadow, my you know, top hat and tails man, the shadow on the wall or on the door, and I thought it
yeah,
was the shadow of somebody. And I can remember walking down the hallway thinking, "Oh, who else is in the house?" Because there was nobody else in the house. Maybe, you know, I was thinking, oh, does Dad come home early or whatever? And why is he wearing a top hat and tails? That's really bizarre. And then I don't really remember anything else, but I don't remember feeling scared. But I don't know
yeah.
whether that's because I didn't realize that it wasn't a shadow of somebody or not. I don't know. But there was no red eyes or anything like that. It was just a
No,
shadow.
yeah, because I can't remember the name. You know, when you see something, like you say, you see a shadow and you put the light on, it's actually the curtain or a pile of
Yeah,
clothes.
it has got
Well, I can't remember.
paranoia. Oh, that's faces, isn't it?
That's I
Yeah,
can't
there's
remember
something.
what it's called.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
like,
you. Oh, Sarah has a shadow man at
I li-
home.
Who?
Just a message on there. She has a shadow man at home. No top hat though.
Oh, Sarah, I have a shadow man at home. No top hat though. Oh, that's interesting.
I would say that was a shadow person. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
I think that was definitely would be a spirit, because you would see, if you regularly see this shadow person, that's how some people see ghosts, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of seeing shadows from your peripheral vision. I mean,
Yeah.
I have that all the time, and I was going mad because I always see, something's there, you feel something's there, and I look, and I go to turn, and it's not there, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
oh, maybe it's my eyesight. So I got my eyes tested, and they said, no, your eyes are healthy, it's fine. But I see it all the time, and I know something's there, and I could see something move in the corner of my eye, but every time I turn, it's gone.
Yeah.
But that was my first thing, or maybe it is my eyesight, but they said it's healthy, so it makes me think, well, is it just my brain? Am I actually seeing it, or is it there? Because you do get the distinct feeling that there is something there.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I mean, the human species is basically an animal, and we do have instincts that we should rely on. And our instincts do tell us when we're being watched, and our instincts do tell us when there's something there. I mean, it's not always right. Sometimes, when we get hyper aware of things, you can mistake for other things. But, if it's something that you're always constantly seeing, you've got to start trusting your instincts at some point.
Yeah, because you do get the feeling that something's there. Oh, hello, Jason. Right, what have you wrote? Why would he have a hat? Why is that important? Have you wondered that? No, I haven't. Maybe he likes to wear a hat.
Maybe he's got a bald spot and he doesn't want to show it.
I want to cover it. That's what I say. They say about that theory of being interdimensional. They're interdimensional beings that there's a crack where they're able to pass through, and we're just seeing that form of them. And then obviously they disappear quickly because they're only there for a couple of seconds.
Yes, I mean, some kind of uniform. Yeah, it could be. Who knows? And they're just here to observe. Though what they would be interested in
about that.
Her house for, I have no idea.
What's that? Dan, Nina, right. One summer I woke up every day at the same time with something growling in my ear, and when I looked at it, it was a hooded shadow figure standing by my bed.
Ooh, that's just giving me chills.
That's interesting.
So
it's not the Shadow Hat Man.
It's a different one.
Yeah, I've looked up about that, about the hooded Shadow Man, and apparently they're connected with the Shadow Hat Man. I don't know what it is, because like I said, there's no evidence to say, are they evil, are they good, are they just there to observe? I mean, there's not enough research. I mean, you look up on Google about trying to find pictures and videos, and there's nothing there.
Yeah,
it's all fake. It's nothing.
There's no, there was, when I was researching for my book, there was a website specifically for people all around the world to tell their story of the Shadow Hat Man. And people who came in with other ones like the hooded shadow figure and the shadow people were put into a different. It was just purely for the Shadow Hat Man, and it didn't get confused with anything else. And that was a really interesting website, but I have looked for it and I cannot find it now. It's disappeared.
Oh.
It's gone, the whole thing.
I mean, I was going to ask you, Dan and Nina, about that, about hearing the growling. I mean, did you feel like it was a negative? Did you feel it was threatening in any way? I mean, I'd love to know how you felt in that situation.
I've got to imagine that something growling in your ear when you're asleep is not pleasant.
Well, no. I mean, they normally say that any growling is normally to do with a demonic type of entity, don't they?
But there is a version of the Hat Man that has red eyes.
Yes, there is.
So I mean, maybe just like the human species, there's all different personalities involved. Which is a weird thing to say, but
question. Paranormal reason. The phenomena was first identified in the US, as a lot of phenomena like this is, where the hat appears to be prerequisite. I can't even say.
Prerequisites.
I'll let you say that.
There are a few in the US, but when I was researching it, it's all over the world. It's not only America. It's all over the world. Brazil, Chile, over in Japan, everywhere. Australia, UK, everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, where did I read it? It was about, Native Americans.
Yes.
Apparently have their own version of it.
But they were more shadow people than the Shadow Hat Man, I believe.
Yeah, it was more shadow people. And then you had, I don't know if it was, I know it's in East Europe, Arabia, and their thoughts is it's an actual jinn, not to be confused with.
Don't they?
Yeah.
Over there. Yeah, they have the red-eyed one. Yeah.
I mean, the jinn's not to be confused with the genie from Aladdin.
No, Jin bad. Jin bad.
Different thing.
Bad, unless you mix
but
it with
apparently, like, in their drawings and that like, I think it was before the Quran, but I know it was in Arabia. All their drawings is basically the jinn is a shadow.
Yeah.
He comes as a shadow humanoid type thing.
Yeah.
So that's shape. Another version of it, yeah.
I guess that may all just play into the human instinct from way back when we lived in caves and had to be scared of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Dan and Nina have replied there. I was playing with a spirit board and fooling around with darker occult things during the time.
Yeah, that's not a very good idea. I mean, if you tried blessing the house, getting a medium in to, sage it. I believe there's a way of doing it where you have to salt all the windows, and then you open like doorways and just put salt around that. I believe I'm correct. Kerry's the best person. If she writes it down to be able to help you with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe it. You sage a place. You need to do a blessing, and just be very adamant. No, you tell them you don't want them here. You want them to leave. I believe that's what you're meant to do. So don't take my word for it, but I would seek like a medium if you feel it's a negative entity that's there.
Yeah, especially
but don't ever dabble.
You brought it in, because if it feels invited, it'll take liberties.
Yeah. But another theory on the Shadow Hat Man and with the shadow people from UFOologists, they believe it's an alien species just observing us and collecting a load of data on us. Why?
Me as a 7-year-old running around my house must have been vastly interesting to them, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm going to be an alien. I'm going to I mean, at least they're not abducting you and doing the probing.
Well, I don't have any memories of the rest of the things, so maybe they did. I mean, it explain a lot.
Yeah, but that's what they say, because they say they just stand there in the doorways, closets, or in the corner of the room.
Yes. Yeah.
And so maybe that's them. That UFOologists believe, that would be why they think it's an alien just observing us. My opinion, I think it's a load of rubbish. But
I'm with you there.
They're grasping at they're definitely grasping at straws on that one.
There is a meme that floats around online that the ufologist who's like, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens, and it goes with absolutely everything, because if there's any way that they can be blamed on aliens, it will be blamed on aliens.
Oh yes.
But no, I don't know. I don't think it's an extraterrestrial thing. I
No,
could possibly,
I don't.
I could possibly believe an argument for it being some sort of interdimensional thing, possibly.
Yeah.
But no, not aliens. That's a bit too far fetched for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, just a bit. Oh, look, a cow's dead. That was definitely an alien. They've probed it, they've done tests on it, and it's dead.
We can't figure out how it was done. Aliens must have done it. That's the basic thing. Yes, no.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do believe there are aliens. I mean, it's a bit foolish to think out of the whole universe we're the only living beings. I mean, but to say that the shadow man or the shadow people is not aliens observing us, I think that's a bit far fetched. No, it's a no from me.
And it's a no from me.
Who was it about? About sleep paralysis as well. Others claim that the Hat Man hovers over them in bed, which just strengthens the scientific claim to sleep paralysis and not anything paranormal. I mean,
again, I think that's actually being confused with something else.
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading about the sleep paralysis and the scientists saying, no, the only thing they can't explain is why everybody is seeing exactly the same thing all around the world. That's what they can't understand. They're like, you know, it is sleep paralysis, but why is everybody having exactly the same
I mean, like,
visions or dreams?
If it's a vision of just a shape of a person, yeah, okay, everyone knows what shape of a person is. But the fact that it's that specific, and I mean, when I saw him, it was daylight. I was running around. You know, I wasn't middle of the day. There was no sleep involved. And I get with sleep paralysis, the psychology behind, you know, when your brain wakes up before your body does, and you are paralyzed, and how scary that has to be. It's never happened to me, thankfully, but I can't imagine how scary that must be to wake up and still be kind of have that thing in your head with your dreams, because you do when you wake up, you're still kind of thinking of your dreams, but then not being able to move and being in a darkened room, and that heightens all your senses, and that's going to be scary, and you are going to start seeing things in a negative way. I'm not saying that that they're not that sometimes these things don't cause sleep paralysis, and they are why you are having sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
perhaps that's true, but from a purely scientific point of view, if you are in sleep paralysis because your brain has woken up before your body has, you are going to see scary stuff, because it's your fight or flight instinct. Immediately when you're in a position where you cannot move and protect yourself, you are going to start panicking. It is just human nature, and then you are going to start seeing things that, you know, shapes take on a more menacing form. And then I think that's why that people all over the world see the same shape, because everyone knows what a human being looks like.
Yeah. I think that's why a lot of people associate this Hat Man to be a very negative being, because obviously when they have a sleep paralysis, they're panicked, they're scared, and they associate this figure to be a negative being.
Yeah. But I mean, I honestly think that it's not. I don't think it's a positive being. I think it's a purely neutral being.
Yeah.
I think it's nosy. I mean, that's the thing.
To be fair,
I come at it from my side, from its side. For me personally, my experience of it, and from other experiences I've read around the world of people seeing him in the daytime, they're not doing anything special. You know, there's nothing. There's no like big war going on. There's no, you know, no big life-changing, world-changing event happening. So what is he interested in? Why is he there watching? What is there that's so interesting?
Yeah. I know. I mean, another thing is apparently he only appears through emotional distress,
Yes.
through
Yeah. No,
depression, anxiety. He appears then, apparently.
I think that may be something to do with just people who are in emotional distress are more more susceptible to seeing things that people who aren't would, if you understand what I mean. People who are a little bit more emotionally distressed, they are a little bit more depressed, they are they tend to close themselves off. They don't have as much input coming in. They shut down. It's kind of why you tend to
Yeah,
see things more in the dark and when you're asleep, because you're starting to just shut down all those barriers that you put up just to get through the day, because you've got all the noise from the TV and the people and the
yeah,
cars and everything hitting you, and you put up all these barriers, and that stops you from seeing and experience some stuff.
yeah,
You've got all this input coming into your brain. You're just like, the important things are the only things that you see. And I think when people are in a really bad emotional distress and they are depressed and they're going through, through these things, the same sort of thing happens. They shut down. They're just like, they just have to focus. They have their little box, and then it becomes easier for other things to step forward out of the noise of the background that they're ignoring, if that makes sense. I
yeah,
don't know if I'm explaining that right or not, but that's just how I feel.
yeah. I mean, like I say, looking into this sleep paralysis, I went in a bit further,
Yeah.
and a thing that come up is apparently this supernatural being called the night hag, and
Yeah.
apparently this is what causes your sleep paralysis. It sits on your chest or at the end of the bed, and it feeds on your fear.
Emotions. Yeah.
And maybe that's what people are associating, thinking it's this hat man, but it's not. It's actually this night hag.
Simon's
I
just
mean,
basically said about the old hag and the night hag. Yeah. So yeah, it's
yes, Simon's the one that told me about it yesterday. He's like, I'll have a research. So I looked into that. Thank you, Simon, for that, by the way. Yes, I wouldn't have known that. Simon brought to my attention yesterday about the night hag,
yeah. Yeah,
which
no,
is an interesting theory.
I don't know too much about the night hag. I have sort of read a little bit about it, obviously, when I was going into the Shadow Man research. But yeah, possibly. I mean, maybe they're a tag team. Maybe it's all, the night hag comes along, paralyzes you, the shadow people come and petrify you, while the shadow hat man stands and watches you and takes notes. Who knows?
Makes me go, remember to wear your PJs in bed. I don't want them watching me. I'd end up scaring them, not the other way. Oh, why that come into my head, I don't know.
Oh, just had an idea for another talk, but we can't do it.
Behave, we're live.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we could talk about loads of stuff, couldn't we?
We need a pub and a pint and we'll be away for days, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we will definitely be meeting up, I'll tell you that. Kids free.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about the shadow man. I haven't really talked about the shadow people. We hear a lot about this phenomenon, and from what I read and watched, you tend to see shadows from the corner of your eye, only fleeting, like quickly. You turn your head, like I said, like I turn my head, find that there's absolutely nothing at all there. It's an interesting, because like the same thing, UFOlogists, I can never say the name, talk about. Oh God, Barbara's here. I have seen many shadow people over the years, mostly at night when in bed, but I was deaf away as I sat up and they were still there.
Oh, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that. You never told me that, Mum.
See, now I haven't seen many shadow figures, shadow people. Like, there was one experience that I had not too long ago here in the house, but that's really, really long-winded, and I'll say that for another day. But it which was a shadow, and my experiences of spirits, ghosts, poltergeists, whatever, have been very tactile, very moving objects, seeing people who look very real, but then are not there anymore. It's not shadows. It's not these inconsequential kind of shadowy shapes. But I think a lot of stories that you hear of spirits and people seeing ghosts are of these kind of floaty shadow shapes. Which could potentially be a spirit trying to manifest and only getting to a certain point. And when you see it out of the corner of your eye, it's more movement that you see rather than you see the movement going out the corner of your eye, and your brain puts it into a shape. And where you don't necessarily see a shadow figure, you see a shadow shape that is a figure. Oh
yeah.
Simon's saying that the
sorry, I'm trying to watch on my laptop all the comments and that as well as doing this.
So I'm not being there, I know. I can see them out the corner of my eye as well. It's like, I'm trying to read them while talking.
There was a suggestion that she was a succubus. Yes, I read about that, Simon.
I was gonna say that.
But I thought a succubus ain't that? That's the sexual type entity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've got the incubus and the succubus. The incubus is the male version, isn't it?
That's it, and the succubus is the female one.
Yeah.
And there was a interesting TV program about that, I think. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah. I mean, right.
I'm not entirely sure that these are all the same thing. The succubus,
there's so many different.
The hag, the shadow man, the shadow people. People are tending to clump them all together in the same ball. Maybe not the succubus and the incubus, but definitely the shadow people and the hat man and the hag.
They seem to meld them into one, and it's like it does get confusing.
But I don't think it's the same thing at all.
No, because the succubus is a. I
say sexual energy, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. And I don't think the night hag is like that, because it literally, there's nothing sexual going on with the night hag. It is literally
things like incubuses and succubuses. You're going down the same road as, say, banshees and things like that, and that's I think a whole other thing.
Yeah, wendigos and
all of that is just a whole different subject.
We'll have to do a talk about that. The the wendigos, the banshee, succubus, and all that. I mean, that'd be an interesting subject to talk about. But I mean, they say that the shadow people come in two forms. One they call them peepers. They're the ones that you see in the
corner. Yeah.
They're the ones you see in the corner of your eye. The other ones, they're the more scary ones. They're the more like the full apparitions. They mainly are the ones that come when you sleep.
Yeah. So I would be tempted if I had to sort of give a strong opinion on anything. I would be tempted to say that the peepers, as you called them, the ones that you see out the corner of your eye, are actual spirits. They are, the ghosts of people who have passed. That the shadow people that you see when you're in sleep paralysis are possibly something less savory. Maybe demons, if that's the name you want to call them, or something that has never really been alive, never been people. Taking the opportunity to come through that crack in your defenses.
They do.
And then shadow hat man, again, a third thing we don't know, but that isn't good, isn't bad. It's just there. It's just observing. It's just.
It makes you think, what exactly is it observing? Like, what? Why?
Yeah.
That's the question many people. Why?
Why? But I think when everyone's confusing everything all together, it's very hard to get to the why. Because if you start talking about the shadow hat man and then someone starts replying to you with experiences of the shadow people or of the,
Yeah.
of the corner of your eye, the peepers, it all gets confused and you never really find out. You get distracted by all this other stuff and you never can stick to that one path to find out exactly what's going on. It's the thing that I found out when I was researching for Shadow Man. I mean, I was so shocked to find that there was this whole community of people who had also experienced the exact same thing. Because I'm my top hat and tails man. He wasn't the hat man to me. He was my top hat and tails man. And I'd never, I mean, I told people, but nobody had ever said, "Oh, I've experienced that too." And I just thought it was just one of those. There was a lot of weird things that happened in that house when I was growing up. A lot of weird things, and I just thought it was another one to add to that list. And then when I went to research, and I found all these people. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people with the exact same thing. Not just kind of similar, but the exact same experience of the exact same shape, wearing the exact same clothes, doing the exact same thing. I was floored, absolutely floored by it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have no clue. I have no idea. The research that I did, you keep coming up against all these weird dead ends. As I said, that site that I found has disappeared now. And
there's so many different things. I mean, remember, guys, if you want to ask a question, please ask us questions, comments, and that. We'd love to answer whatever you want to know as best as we can. There's also another theory about the shadow people. Let me read it. VLF and ultra low ULL frequencies can manifest visual hallucinations as well as feelings of intense fear. But this hasn't, from what I've read, it hasn't been proven that this could be what's causing hallucinations.
The shadow people.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it could be. But then if you take out the shadow people from the equation and you take out the peepers from the equation and the hag woman and the sleep paralysis, and if you take those things out of the equation, you're still left with this great big chunk of people who in broad daylight saw the shadow of a man with a hat and a long coat.
Yeah.
And
like I said, it's so broad. I mean, it's not like it's just happened. This has been back from thousands of years. Like the Egyptians, the Arabians, then you've got the Native Americans have got their version of it. I mean, this is not something that's new. This is something that's
it's been around for a while.
Through a lot of years.
When I was a kid, that was donkeys years ago.
Yeah. No, thankfully, I've never seen him. I don't want to. Not inviting you to come.
Yeah.
If this is the case, wouldn't everyone see this at the same time?
Oh, is that referring to the light that you were just talking about there, Laura?
I don't know. Is that what I was just talking about, Kerry?
Because yes, if it was a light, regarding the light phenomenon. Yeah. So if it was a light phenomenon, everyone would see it at the same time, surely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've looked into it, but like I say, it's not been proven by scientists that this is the case.
It's a strange one.
It is. I mean, when it comes to skeptics, they say about the full view of shadow people that we're seeing, this can be a form of sleep paralysis or waking dreams. But then, like I say again, why is everyone having the same thing? Because surely, if that was the case, they'd see shadow, but it would be different, not exactly the same.
I mean, you'd see something that was applicable to your life. You wouldn't see something that was outside of your. I mean, like I said, when I saw him, I always called him the top hat and tails man because I was I hadn't watched cowboy movies. I didn't know what a cowboy was. I was watching Fred Astaire and, you know, Frank Sinatra, and they were always in their top hat and tails. And when I saw that shape, that's what I saw. But when I started looking into it and other people were talking about it, yes, it was a wide-rimmed hat. That's what I saw. I took it as a top hat because it was a wide-rimmed hat. Yes, it was a long coat. I took it as, you know, the old-fashioned tail coats that they used to have with the two dagger bits going out the back. But yes, the trench coat would also fit, but I didn't have any experience of what a cowboy hat and a trench coat looked like at that time, so I took it as a top hat and tails.
Yeah, they say it's like either a fedora. Is it fedora?
Yeah,
fedora hat.
The cowboy wide-rimmed hat. Yeah, it's just odd.
It is. I wish we could get more evidence on it. It's just so many variables of it.
And there's just so many, when you go look into it now, there is just so many dead ends and false starts because people are confusing it with so many other things. You can get lost in other things that have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. How plausible is it that he is a UFO? What
do you mean, an alien from a UFO?
You was going to say, it's a bit small to be a UFO. I don't think it's plausible. I generally think if it was going to be anything, like you said as well, Terry, it would be an interdimensional being, not an alien.
Yeah.
I don't believe that this entity is.
I've got to agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, like I say, there's a leak or there's a way that they can come through, and that's why they're only there for a couple of seconds and then they go again.
Yeah.
That would be more plausible to me, that it is an interdimensional being than him being an alien.
The sci-fi reader in me, the sci-fi, the one that likes to read all the weird sci-fi stories, would love a sort of story where it is kind of like maybe a two-way mirror.
Yeah.
And just a light shines and you can see the other side of that mirror. They're there watching us through their dimension. That's their uniform or whatever, their top hat and tails. Maybe he's some sort of investigator from the future, and he's looking through his two-way mirror events to see something that's going to happen in the future and how it started, and we just get a glimpse of it every now and again. That's a sci-fi version of it, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
If you can get any kind of weird and wacky conclusion out of it, because there's just so much anecdotal evidence and not so much physical evidence.
Yeah. I'm just looking. Aliens are interdimensional. Now, what I mean by that, Kerry, is like a parallel universe type thing, that there's a leak and they're able to come through. I'm not talking about the alien version of what you thinking I'm saying, if that makes sense. Makes sense in my head, but trying to get it out, it's not coming out quite good. But
like we were talking about at the beginning, with the whole alien thing, it's so easy to blame aliens for everything we don't really understand, and it's a temptation that I rally against quite. I mean, I absolutely believe that there are aliens. Yes, like you said.
Oh God, I do believe.
the world,
I mean, yeah, I said
differences of varieties of things just on this planet to not believe that there is another 100 billion trillion different variety of things out in the universe is just mind-boggling.
Well, we know a lot. We do think we're the center of the universe. There's nobody. It's just us. And I'm like, I'm guessing there's no aliens on our solar system, but it's huge. Space is
massive.
Yeah.
And it's been around for a while.
Yes. And to think that we're the only ones, no. I don't think so. We're probably the inferior race compared to everyone else.
I would think so. We have we have the encumbrance of religion, which tends to put a dampener on all scientific advancements and everything. So, if an alien species is just 100 years more advanced than us and didn't have to go through the Christian, what did they call it when they didn't let any science? The science was all kind of forbidden. They didn't have to go through that 100-year period, and they're 100 years ahead of us. They'll be vastly superior to us.
Oh, what did Barbara say? Taking the two things together, there is loads of anecdotal evidence for both the Shadow Hat Man and Shadow People. Do you think one is more plausible than the other then?
I think if you were investigating it to try and figure out what it is, and you were doing a proper investigation into it, you would have more problems with the Shadow People than you would have with the Shadow Hat Man. Because the Shadow People are invariably seen during sleep paralysis, and they are just a person-shaped shadow, which is something that is universal. Whereas with the Shadow Hat Man, he is seen in the daytime and he is always wearing the same outfit, regardless of where in the world he is being seen, which are two very distinct, different things. So I think if you were to go and investigate and put some proper, serious time, energy, money, research into investigating either of these two phenomenon, the Shadow Hat Man would probably be easier.
Yeah.
Because to prove or have any kind of evidence of the Shadow People, it would be next to impossible because, kids will see shadow figures. You know, you put a weird shape in a window and it will turn into a shadow figure. But to see a specific outfit on a specific shape, that's something different.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I don't think that one is more plausible than the other. I think one might be easier to investigate than the other.
Yeah, because they always say Shadow People are in the basement, or they're always obviously somewhere dark being Shadow People. But no one's ever catched anything. That's the thing. Nobody's ever got evidence. I also say about the Shadow Hat Man being, if you see him, it's an omen that death is going to happen. Whether it's yourself or someone around you, I don't think that's...
Nope, saw him. Nobody died.
No. So I don't believe that.
Yes, I mean, you've got a lot of people who are so incredibly superstitious and petrified of everything. And when they hear these stories, they will just heap all this superstitious nonsense onto it.
Especially the Christians.
Well, yeah, I mean, but not only that, but I mean, the Christians, yes, because you know they have a vested interest in not having ghosts wandering the planet, because that would then call into question half of their religion. But yeah, any kind of superstitious belief in evil, shall we say, they will the second something they don't understand comes up, it's immediately it's the devil, it's the bad, it's the demon,
it's demonic.
And then you can't get past that. Then once they've labeled it, then that's it.
There is actually a video of a shadow figure peeping around the stairs somewhere. I think I've seen that. I'm sure I saw it a couple of days ago.
It was a little boy, I believe. It's actually really very clear. But again, I think that is a different thing. I think that's what you were talking about earlier, Laura. That was the peeper.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's the same issue. Everyone clumping all these things into the same barrel, and they're not the same thing at all, I don't think.
No. I mean, everything I've seen, a lot of people say they've been tampered. They're not real. They've been... Can't fit the word. But it's faked. a lot of these videos that I'll see, and you can clearly see it's fake.
Yeah.
There was one video I saw back in the 80s, so it was when you couldn't.
Yeah, that wasn't
You
so easy
couldn't
to
tamper.
Yeah.
And it looked fake. It looked fake, but everyone's saying that how could they do it? Because we didn't have the technology then to impose it. It was basically he was in and he panned back out, and then you saw the shadow like appearing as he panned out. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
it looks fake, but then like how did he do it then? Because you just didn't have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could back then. Still, you can still superimpose things onto. I've forgotten the name. It's been that long since I've used it. Film. That's the word. But I mean, it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
To do, and it was easy to spot if you had the original film.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've not seen it, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it's the shadow, the peepers, the shadow people, and the shadow hat man. I think because they're all shadows, people are very tempted to clump them together, and they are not the same thing. And
No.
they're three complete separate entities of three complete separate things.
Yeah. I mean, guys, we do have 8 minutes left, so if you want to get your questions in now, now's the time to do it. What's Simon Lewis wrote? Does anyone remember the old TV series Sapphire and Steel? They used to check out problems with time. Maybe they're interdimensional being that are checking issues with time.
I don't remember Sapphire and Steel.
No,
but
I don't.
That's even before my time. But I believe it could have been Isaac Asimov, or someone of that ilk wrote a book very similar on that essential thing. Yeah, interdimensional beings checking issues with time. What a job!
I mean, that's pretty fascinating.
Here, go to this house in the middle of nowhere, Staffordshire, and check out this 7-year-old running around.
Oh, it'd be a bit like a Quantum Leap, wouldn't it? Where they, do you remember that show, Quantum Leap? I mean, that's like, yeah, and they go into, it's still, like I say, like a parallel universe, but they're going in, yeah, that's how I perceive the Shadow Atman sort of thing. He can go in. That's a pretty cool gadget to have, to be fair.
I wouldn't mind. Maybe in the future, that's going to be me.
And
I go back to see 7-year-old me. How awesome would that be?
Yes, that would be brilliant. But I have to research more about the old hag. I'd like to know more about her.
Yeah. She does come from the same, I think, the same sort of grouping as the Banshee, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about it. Yeah, we'd have to do something about it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I looked at the picture. It's like this little old lady sitting on their chest. Oh, it looks. I mean, yeah, she's quite flexible. I mean, for an old hag, she's definitely flexible. The way she was sitting on.
I'm sure there's some video around the internet of it.
Oh, Jesus.
They come through mirrors too. Jess Johnson says, I've heard of mirrors being used as portals, probably why they don't like them very much, especially in the I don't like mirrors in the dark. I can't go past a mirror in the dark.
No, I believe that mirrors are portals, to be fair. I do believe that. I hate looking at mirrors. I remember doing as a kid, in the dark, spinning around doing Bloody Mary. I thinking, what the hell was wrong with me that time?
Oh, I can't do it.
It's horrible. And my brain was convinced there was something in that mirror. I was like, nope, I'm walking out now.
I moved rented apartment years ago, and they had fitted wardrobes. So the whole wall of one of the sides of the bedroom was just floor to ceiling mirror with this fitted wardrobe. I couldn't sleep in that room. It was awful. Who would do that? Why? Why do you need that much mirror? There's just no need.
Especially if you've got one above your bed on the ceiling and you're looking up. No.
Not happening.
Terri, I have one opposite my bed. Do you? Oh yeah, because you got a new. Yeah, you have. Yeah, no.
No.
I would not. I see my reflection in the morning. That's scary enough.
Waking up with sleep paralysis and that's there. No!
I look like Doc from Back to the Future. My ears like up here. Oh, Jesus.
We're going off on a tangent now.
Oh, God. Right. Well, we've got 4 minutes left, so quickly get your questions in. Oh, it's Sarah, by the way, Laura. Oh, sorry, Sarah. I've been thinking you was Kerry the whole time. Oops, my bad. Yeah, no. I would get a sheet, Sarah, and just cover your mirror. I couldn't look opposite now.
Don't is it the Jewish that cover their mirrors when someone dies? They cover all their mirrors for 7 days. So they can't. Yeah, it's fine. I understand that.
Yeah, no. Well, I said the Jewish have that Dybbuk. Is it Dybbuk box? Where they trap demons? Oh, yeah, that's really interesting, the Dybbuk box.
Made out of a specific kind of wood and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the spirits don't get stuck. Yes. They cover their mirrors so the spirits don't get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. I think it was worse back in the day because the way mirrors were made, they're made differently now. The way they were made before, they would get like a staining and mottled behind the mirror. So even though you were looking at your reflection, it was almost translucent. It was almost see-through. Your reflection didn't bounce back the way the mirrors nowadays do. You get a proper true reflection back. But back in Victorian times when they were making them, the way that they made them, it wasn't that much of a strong reflection, and you could almost see through while you were looking at yourself, which I can imagine would be horrible. But I think it's just something that's sort of carried on with us. But I can't. There's some horror movie as well where they get into a lift and it's a mirrored lift on the inside.
Oh.
And just why would you do this? I don't understand.
Oh, God. Well, we're coming to the end of our show now. Next week, you'll have the live with Kerry and Sarah. They're doing all about the Fox sisters, so you need to check that out. We now have Instagram, guys, so get us on Instagram. We're on TikTok, where Jess does her amazing videos about dolls, haunted dolls, should I say. She's just uploaded one as well. They're amazing, so please check us out. If you haven't, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I hope you have enjoyed this show tonight. Thank you all very much. And if you haven't seen us now, watching later when you have a coffee, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Terri, as well.
Thank you, Laura. It's great.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe in 2 weeks, I can't remember what we're doing in 2 weeks now. I think we're doing cryptozoology, aren't we, in 2 weeks?
Zoology, yes.
I think it's we're doing sirens and about the fae, the fairies. So that'd be an interesting one to do about.
Looking forward to that a lot.
Yes. I love the thought sirens. So from me, Laura, I'm going to say good night. Terri, good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And remember to check out Sarah and Kerry's live next week about the Fox sisters. So good night, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mwah. Bye.